All right, so we have covered books, we have covered movies and shows. Next, I want to move on to games. Our family is really big into playing games, both video games and board games, and there are some that I think are just fantastic for this time of year. Let's start by talking about two video games that I think are super kid friendly and also really bring in those spring vibes. The first video game I want to recommend is called Stardew Valley. This game is available on multiple gaming platforms, although we play it primarily on our Nintendo Switch. Stardew Valley is a farming simulation game. You are a farmer that comes to inherit your grandfather's farm, and when you get to the farm, you find it is overrun by weeds and trees and rocks and all of these things. It looks like a giant mess. It is your job to clean up your farmland, and then you have the choice of raising livestock or planting crops or flowers. You're able to build relationships with the townspeople, eventually get married and start a family if you want to do that, and all the while helping to restore the community center for the town. In restoring the community center, you're able to hold at bay this large corporation that's trying to come in and buy out the town and change the town into something other than what it is. So there's a little bit of this, trying to achieve some things, trying to make sure you plant all of the crops and raise all of the animals, and it gives you things to work towards in order to save the town. But even beyond saving the town, you can still continue to play the game and just really revel in all of the farming simulation, slow life goodness. It is very easy for kids to play. My daughter, who is 8, and my son, who is 4, both play this game. I will say it's probably a little bit nicer for the older kids who have the ability to read, because there are some things that you need to read in order to understand. But if you have younger children who want to play it and you're there with them, you can always read along and help them through the process. So very user friendly. The other thing I'll say about it is that it has the capability of being a multiplayer game as well. So you can do what is called couch co-op, where 2 people can play on a split screen the same game, which is something that my kids often do together, where they will work on the same farm. They each have their own house on the same farm, and they work together to do all of the farming things and make the very best farm. If you have multiple consoles and multiple copies of the game, you can actually play wirelessly together up to 4 players. So you can actually get your entire family, if you're a family of 4 like us, to play the same farm and do it all together, which I think is a really fun feature for this particular game. The second video game recommendation is Animal Crossings. This one feels similar to Stardew Valley, but there's really nothing to achieve. There is no, fighting against the corporation, or I have to win this game. It's just a very slow going, do whatever you feel like doing kind of game. The version of Animal Crossings that our family plays is, again, on the Nintendo Switch. In this version, you go and you live on an island. You start with like a little tent on the island, and you can eventually work your way up to building a house and making a really substantial place to live on the island. While you are on the island, other characters can move in and live. These are non-playable characters, so NPCs, and you have the ability to make friends with them. You can give them gifts, they'll give you gifts. It's a very cute, very wholesome game. You can fish and catch bugs, you can dig for fossils, you can plant flowers and crops and harvest fruits from the trees. You can visit other islands that other people have if you want to play with people over the internet, or you can also have everyone in your family join in on the same island, and each of you can have a house there. The only caveat to this is that you can't do this simultaneously. It would be, one at a time you'd be able to go and live on the island. But I do love the idea that you're all working together to make your island a beautiful place to live, and keeping your friends, the other NPCs, there on the island with you. In terms of board games, I have 2 board games to recommend. This first one is called Gathering a Garden, and it is by the maker Ebu, who also makes a bunch of puzzles. It is a very high quality game and is intended for ages 5 and up. Although I will say that my 4-year-old son would totally be able to play this game. It's not that difficult to play, so you might be able to get away with even younger as well. The premise of this game is that there are 5 vendors throughout the town, and you are a gardener. You start on a plot of land where there's nothing in the soil, and it's your job to hit the spinner and move the number of steps, trying to visit each of the 5 vendors, collecting your 5 items, which are a flower, a vegetable, an herb, a bird, and a tree. There's 5 things that you have to collect, and then get back to your plot of land first so that you can grow a garden. And that's it. You're just walking around the board, collecting the different things. Nothing costs money. As soon as you get to the vendor, you just get the thing and then going back to your plot of land. Super cute. The artwork on this game is adorable. The gameplay is super easy. A fun one, definitely for young children all the way up to adults. My second board game recommendation is Cottage Garden. Now, this game is a bit more complex than the one we talked about before, and therefore is intended for older children. The box itself says that it is 8 and up, although as I was reading the instructions on how to play this game, there is actually a way to tweak it so that you can play from 5 and up as well. So don't let the age on the box scare you off if you have kids in that 5 to 8 range. There is a way for you to play with them too. However, I will say that unlike the Gathering a Garden board game, this one I definitely would not go less than 5. I think it's a bit too complex for children that are under 5 years old. The premise of this game is that every player has 2 garden plots, and you are working to fill your garden plot with as many plants and pots and helper cats as possible. When you fill your plot of soil, you are able to count up your points, clear the plot, and do it again. You go for 5 rounds around the board, and then at the end of the 5 rounds, whoever has the most points gathered throughout the course of gameplay wins the game. The pieces in this game are extremely high quality. I will say that prior to playing this with children, I would definitely play it with adults first, just to grasp the whole concept of how this game works and make it a little easier for you to help your children while they play. So I would not play this with kids for your very first time. Another thing that I love about this game is it can also be one player. So if you are living on your own, or if you love board games but the rest of your family does not, you can play this by yourself as well. And I think that that is not unique, but it's definitely not super usual to find in these beautiful board games. I really love the artwork of this game, and I think that it just makes it feel super duper spring. And also, as a bonus, there is this super cute little 3D wheelbarrow that you get to build that is a movable piece in the game as well, and I just think that that is a super cute touch. Although these are not games, I also wanted to throw in some puzzle suggestions in this category as well, because it feels to me kind of like board games. We actually purchased 2 this spring to work on with our family. The first one is a 500-piece puzzle that is produced by Mud Puppy, and it's called the Woodland Picnic. I thought that this was just adorable. It's got these little woodland characters that are all sitting down to have a picnic in the woods together. They have floral dresses and these cute little like rainbow sweaters and aprons and little hair ties and flower crowns, and it just feels incredibly spring to me. So this is one that we will be working on as a family probably in one of the weeks here, maybe over spring break while the kids are home. But my son, who is 4, is not quite at the stage where this type of puzzle is going to be capable for him. Like he just really struggles with puzzles. So I also found a 20-piece puzzle. So a very, it's a large floor puzzle that also has a very cute spring vibe to it for him, because I do want him to get some more practice with puzzling, and I don't want him to feel super frustrated working on the 500-piece puzzle with us when that's really a struggle for him. So I figured that while we worked on the 500-piece puzzle, he can work on his own little 20-piece puzzle. And like, just look how cute this is. It is so cute. It's this little rabbit in his egg house. It's very spring. It feels very Easter. Adorable. This one is produced also by Ebu, the same producer that did our Gathering with a Garden board game that I showed you earlier is the manufacturer for this puzzle as well. The last thing I will say about this one is that the pieces are very large, so it does create a fairly substantially sized puzzle and makes it really easy for those young little hands to work with. All right, friends, that's it for my spring recommendations for games and puzzles that you can participate in with your family this season. I hope you enjoyed this video and got inspired to maybe try one of these games out with your family. If you did, I would love if you would leave me a thumbs up on the video down below and a flower emoji in the comment section. While you're there, if you know of any other games or puzzles that you think are perfect for the spring season, leave those in the comment section so we can continue building upon this list of games and puzzles that are perfect for this time of year. I have one more video that you're going to be seeing in my spring recommendations series, and that's going to be 10 different activities that you can do with your family to celebrate the season of spring. So keep an eye out for that one. In the meantime, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.